having a fantastic. We're live on this one too. All right, family. Spiritualized Heart and Mind. So we're here on David Mensa. We're here on Light Power. All right. And we're on YouTube as well. So, family, this is what we're going to be jumping into today. Let me put this title right here real quick. Hold on. This joint bugging though, like, okay. There it goes. Not to talk about that. All right, what's up? What's good, Big Bear? What's good, Chocolate? Rory, what's good, family? All right, so I thought I dropped this comment. Where's it at? All right, there it goes. All right, so today's live stream is going to be a live stream. I'm going to stream this live to y'all, all right? And we're going to be discussing our new awareness. We've been growing since we were born. We've all been growing, and I want us to also come to a wholeness about what we've learned. Just let's say I was raised in a Christian household. Just all the things I've learned, just all the things that I've been given, just all the things. And I started to understand some of the ways I've taken some of my knowledge and how I've expanded in so many different ways to observe. And I noticed that I've been creating like a blueprint almost, a blueprint of the spiritualized heart and mind. And I want to talk to you guys about that because especially with what the world is showing us right now, a lot of things that we have already had some insight about, like the things in Revelations, the wars, or let's say the riots, let's say the pandemic, the plagues and things like this. We're able to understand why we're moving in the direction of how we call self-awakening, self-realization, or awakening in another word form, right? But the process of awakening is actually different for everybody, because everybody has a different reason that triggers them to self-reflect in that introspective way. Everybody has a different type of reason for that. As far as I'm concerned, I've noticed some people they wait until they become very ill. It's like they wait till their physical body is given up, or they wait until they are burdened emotionally with so much trauma from so many different experiences. And then that's what causes them to start learning about self-healing and utilizing the modalities to bring healing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, everybody has a different reason in which they start to inquire inside and start to connect deeper with the essence of God within, right? And what I'm noticing is that there's two aspects to this, the mind and the heart, that need to be in cohesion and a balance and a union. And with the world and what the world got going on, it leaves a lot of people stuck up here. All right. A lot of people stuck up here in the mind, the thoughts and thinkings. What is this? What is that? What is this? Right. And it's okay, because we definitely need to think around, get around, and make sure that we're swiping that, you know what I'm saying? Like, life has a lot for us to manage, right? But there's a part of the world that deters people from going towards that internal focus. And this is where we have the media, we have the news. Imagine a world for a second. 1 second, we're going to continue. Imagine a world where you actually saw spiritual enrichment on the TV. Like, and I'm not talking about no TBN or anything like this. I'm talking about every single channel that you click, there's something good. It's something about the essence, the divinity of us. You understand what I'm saying? And then here come a commercial. It's 10 seconds. Psh, some bad news, some bullshit going down right now. And then back to goodness. Imagine that. Because the world is the exact opposite of that right now. And you barely even hope to find a commercial that will edify. You know what I'm saying? They talk about what we should be eating from the form of how they can earn money, but also derails or defiles the temple. So you lose your health, but they get paid in a context. does not enrich the being. That does not enrich the essence of the person who's partaking in that. So with a spiritualized mind, you'll have a higher understanding about what it means to take care of this vessel, what it means to be given this gift called a human body. All right. So we're going to jump into this concept, and I wanted to lay down a couple different little pieces of thoughts, because we've been taught towards this our whole lives. I know my mother teaches me this. Now, she might not be the best example for me personally, but she's an amazing example for whoever she's an example for. You understand what I'm saying? And my job is to learn what I'm supposed to be learning and utilize that for the highest, right? And so my attention is not on where she's not. My attention is on where she is and appreciating her for being there. You did what I'm saying? And it took me some time to get there. This is a spiritualized mind, because the first mind will say, oh, these people are unaware, right? But what does that do? That just create a little bit more distance between the essence of what I'm observing in myself. But I know that it's just me at another frequency of awareness, basically, let's say. Right? But then also, my mother might know things I don't know, just using my mother in context. So when we start to become more attuned with how our thoughts move, we start to really be appreciative of all of the illustrations we've been given. You know what I'm saying? Like the story of the seas, like the different soils, the stony soil, the good soil, the off on the side soil. You understand? But it really is explaining the conditions of your heart, and if you're able to receive knowledge, wisdom, or insight, and what would then happen if you had the thorny soil or the thorny soil, or whatever the case is, then that's conditions of where that new thought is going to try to grow. So to tend to the soil is to tend to the emotions of the heart, is to tend to the house, and have your house swept and in order. They're talking about the inside world, you understand? Because the inside world is what brings forward to the outside world. And this is called the salvation of God, because you have to understand that there's what you get in your life, and then there's what you've asked for by your thinking. And once you stand at the door like that, you start to recognize that a lot of things that you've experienced have been your thoughts about them, not what's coming at you from somewhere else, You start to become more harmonious with your patterns of thinking. So let's go ahead and just start here with the spiritualized mind. And we're going to talk about, let's say, the previous condition, and let's say how the world conditions people. And then we'll just have a generalized understanding about what most people are dealing with. And you might be able to share something in the comments that'll help me maybe speak directly to what you've experienced. But in the process of the spiritualized mind, it really is entailing understanding what the mind is and how it works. And that is just from a form of understanding. When we look at, so this is one thing I want to say. The essence of God is going to teach people however they already know, because everybody already knows. So for me personally, I was attracted to computers and technology and phones and gadgets. And that's really where I was able to understand the flow of thought by utilizing data inputs and outputs and things like this. Those words help me understand my own way of seeing how the mind works. Another person can say, oh, that's actually a little bit like music, because their mind is attuned to the frequencies of music and also the modalities of illustrating sound. So their frame of thinking allows them to basically have a clear perception about the mind from a different lens, or from a different viewpoint. All right. So I wanted to say that so everybody could feel for how they've already been taught in the form of how God has taught you, and the infinite presence is wherever you are before you get there, and I'm with you along the way. We just have to be sensitive enough to know that we're learning all the time. I mean, I'm learning all the time, I think. So, I mean, hopefully people paying attention. We in class. All right. So spiritualized mind is about bringing harmony to the mind. Now, I would love to have had some illustrations and pictures in this, but we know that there's two hemispheres in the brain. There's the left hemisphere and there's the right hemisphere. All right. From research, I've understood that the left hemisphere of the brain controls the right aspect of the body. So it's kind of like the left hemisphere of the brain controls my right hand. So if I'm writing my right hand, I'm activating neurons and neurological connections in my left brain, basically. And the left hand corresponds with the right hemisphere, as we understand. The left hemisphere of the brain reflects logic and intellect and knowledge, right? While the right hemisphere of the brain reflects creativity, intuition, visualization, and imagery, or let's say imagination, right? And the world, the matrix in the form of words, the established world of Caesar, how y'all want to get there, however y'all want to get there, they are basically a hypersensitive form of an unhealed child that is stuck on the left hemisphere because everything is logical. Most people write with their right hand. I mean, most people are ambidextrous from what I learned. I mean, I'm ambidextrous, so but these are just like some slight observations, right? And so when you start to understand that to be balanced mentally is to utilize both hemispheres of the brain, is to understand why the world would not want that, because that is not what we're timing on right now. We're kind of on a different type of clock. There's a lot more things for us to focus on that gives us reasons to use logic. It gives us reasons to think and facts and this and this. And like I was saying earlier, facts are very important because we have to walk around knowing what we're doing, right? And at the same hand, we also need to understand how to bring the attention from thought to energy or to essence, to feeling in a form of words. And the reason for that is because the job of the media is to keep you imbalanced mentally. But they can only do that by you reading their stories or watching their videos or talking to someone who watches and reads all their videos and stories, because those are the ways. So they are a fountain of distraction. They are a fountain of what's going wrong in the world. Now, there are things going wrong. We want to know so that we know what to do. But that's all they talk about. So their job is to stream that into your living room so that that news is living in your room, your mental room, your awareness, your thought. All right? And without having a strong spirit, now you'll be subject to whatever you've been basically trampled upon with. Like, imagine watching all these videos of things you don't want to watch. All these videos literally just run around in your mind. And you have to understand the way the mind works is like you want to stand at the door. You don't just let everything in like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's the job of the news. Why? To keep you in balance. When you're in balance, now you go out to find a reason to find balance. This is the thing. Because we live as human beings, the world want to make you think you're just a human. So the logical aspect of the mind wants to say, oh, well, I have a problem, so I have to go and add some shit to it. I have to go out there and get something to add to my problem, to fix it, of course. So I'm going to go buy this wine, because this wine going to make me feel good for the next couple hours. Perfectly speaking, this is what the world basically want to culture people to do. But the real way to solve the problem is the internal. But of course, you're not going to solve the internal because you think you're supposed to watch the news. So they just keep running this shit in your mind. They just keep running the facts of the presidency. This is happening, right over here, right over there. This going down, that's going down. And this is how they feed the world. This is how they feed the world. They feed from a faucet of fear and a faucet of insufficiency. And then they just show all the insufficiencies in the world. Rather than getting some people with some bags to fix this shit and put that on camera, they're just going to show y'all what's going on that's wrong, basically. That's basically how I've observed it. I've been on here for about a quarter and a half. So a quarter and a half a cent or something like this. So let me know if it's something else and I missed it, because as far as I'm concerned, the news has a few jobs, and there is distract, disconnect, and inform. But that inform piece that they do is barely most of the time, because they're all saying the same news on all the different channels, because the news is controlled by 3 primary groups and organizations. And they just hire all the outlets to say the same shit. So people don't really know what's going on when they watch the news. Basically, they just know what these 3 corporations have decided the world should know. And what it mostly is distractions. what it mostly is reasons to not feel the presence of God now. Something to take your mind somewhere else, another state, something else going on over there, something else going on, something else. The spiritualized mind is able to see through this illusionary, what's that word? This illusionary duality, okay? And this is the reason why you must stand at the door of your mind and understand how these things work so that you can reprogram your thoughts. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. We're going into the divine mind. When your body releases a particular feeling, or when you feel certain things, your brain releases chemicals corresponding with those emotions. Now, I have not done all the research on all the emotions, okay? But you can do this yourself. Look into the emotion and the feeling of stress, and you will see that a neurological chemical called cortisol is released into the body's bloodstream. Now, the body also acts about this with the other neurological things and the other hormones that are released, right? But we have to understand that the mind is a habitual system. So the mind gets used to releasing this stress. So the mind gets used to, then the brain gets used to. So now it's basically programmed into you to feel stress most of the time. So now your body is just finding more ways to be afraid because you're used to that. So then you just keep on kicking off these chemicals every single time something goes on because you're used to feeling stress or worry, because there's another corresponding chemical in that direction as well. Or fear, because that's another corresponding direction as well. And the same thing is funny, because if you choose to feel joy, clarity, and happiness, you actually program that as well. But the world don't show that. So you're not going to get it from the world. This is the reason for the saying that goes, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's within you. Where is it going to be? Where else is it going to? How is it going to be somewhere else? The palace of God, the internal world that first creates the external. What you experience is first created inside. That's how thought works. That's the reason why we're talking about spiritualized mind. Because when you have that in awareness, you're not going to think that you're just a human being, because that's what the world says. The world considers human beings to be humans. But human beings is a human, and there is a being. So what is my being? What would you think my being is, family? Because if I were to close this live in about 10 minutes, right? And y'all will hear my voice on another platform. Wouldn't y'all know that y'all talking to Brother David from Light Power? Brother Dean, that's David. I know David. That's my brother, yeah. Straight up, like that. Like that. Y'all know, because y'all hear my voice. What would that make you remember? My spirit. Because, of course, my being is something else, right? So what would that be? That's my essence. That's who I am. That's how I express myself. That's the vibration. That is my nature. That is my essence. And that is my being. So a human being, the being is who we really are. Except they're trying to make it seem like we are just this, and then they show us all of that. So then we think about what they show, because we're not knowing where to focus our attention is here. So we're going to talk about the spiritualized heart in a second, because, that's a whole nother type of time. And I'm going to tell y'all, this does not take one live. Now, I'm doing this in one live because this was the type of time, and I've been saying no inside in other days, but I started to say yes inside. And this is the reason why I'm on live right now, is because I've started noticing that the ego says no because of whatever. So like I said, it's just ping pong against the wall, basically, of thoughts. And until you rectify where you place your thought focus, then you're going to be just delaying yourself in a form. That's how I've been doing. So I call myself out before anybody else, because I don't have time to wait for somebody else to tell me if I'm doing it right. I just want to know now, and I want to just be now. So for me, I look at me now and I see how I am and see if that's good enough for me. If it's yesterday, I gotta come up with something better the next day. You get what I'm saying? So as we're about to move into the conversation on the spiritualized heart, I still want us to understand and have a fullness about noticing that what comes to you in your reality, if you have displeasing experiences, that's a lot of the heart related situation. It's a lot of magnetism conversation in the heart space. But with the spiritualized mind, it's really understanding that when you observe somebody else, like I was saying, this is my human. Y'all watching my body, right? But then if y'all were to listen to me on a podcast, y'all would know that that's David. That's Brother DM. I know that's like power. I know that. I know that voice. That's my brother. I know who that is. You would just know. But that's my spirit, right? And that's who we are looking for when we look into the eyes of others. You understand? Because a lot of times we listen to what our thoughts are saying about what we've learned about this person. And that just disconnects us from access to love at that time. So it's to see. This is why they say see others the way God sees them. That's like the way they put the words. That's really just seeing from the eye of understanding, the eye of observation, not from the eye of ignorance and the individual. I and I. You get what I'm saying? But that's just along the way. All right. So when you start to embody that clarity, you'll find yourself not worrying. You'll find yourself not having no fears. You'll find yourself putting yourself out, and you'll find yourself, let's see how it goes. Like that's the type of energy I'm in right now. I didn't really have too many notes about this. I actually do have some notes, actually. I forgot I had some notes. Shit, hold up. But yeah, family, so let's move into the spiritualized heart. All right. Within the spiritualized heart, that conversation, it really stems as understanding the beliefs that you carry. And that is very, very broad because we have so many beliefs about so many different things. But the spiritualized heart is more so the beliefs about separation and about division. Those are like the big blocks in the heart space, because when people have conceptualized certain thoughts as true, that's where they go, the beliefs, the heart. So we have to kind of, that's what I was saying, like have our house in order in the form, because, for example, when I was raised in a Christian home, a Christian setting, right, they would sometimes, I would say, like devalue other religions from something that they heard, but it's not full observation. Like they didn't really have like any information. It's like, oh, well, I heard that these people are this, like this. Oh, these people are always doing this. That to me sounds like terrorism almost. You know what I'm saying? It just don't sound right. Like, so for me, I want to do the understanding to know how they see and why that makes sense for them. Because that's where I'm at. I'm at the heart. I'm at the understanding of that's thought related. So I can understand other people's beliefs by observing them, basically. But I mentioned that because to purge the heart of these type of false perceptions is to really come into acceptance of spirit and really come into acceptance of soul in that way, you know, because soul represents the essence of God. The world, you know, Christ is the soul of God. And to not really understand that other people also have that is a little bit like you're not understanding that you are. Because if you did understand, then you would see that. But you don't see that because you don't recognize it in yourself. So this is the knowledge of self comes in because you see the self in others when you recognize the self in yourself. Now, when I say self in yourself, I'm talking about the divine self. I'm not talking about my body, my bones, like we said earlier. All right. But this is the understanding, because this is what the world needs. The world is literally a big unhealed child with the ability to make other people make decisions. And the world is running like that at this time because that's basically how it's been moving. So without the awareness, we're subject to our habits. Without the awareness, we're subject to the people around us and their habits. Without the awareness, we're subject to whatever we haven't reprogrammed. And a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, that is it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough. It doesn't edify, it doesn't gratify, it doesn't dignify the spirit. And we already know that. That's the reason why we have the term of words, awakening. We have the term of words, self-realization. We have all these words that saying the same things. So we have to come to the awareness of what that really is. It's a spiritualized mind. It's a spiritualized heart. And to let me give y'all this picture. They say knowledge of God. Knowledge of God. What's knowledge of God? People say knowledge of God, they be like, oh, well, that's the Holy Bible. Well, you could say that, and that could pass, but I like to know what it is for real. So I would say knowledge of God, and then I will understand what is knowledge, and then I would say of, and then I would say God. Knowledge is the mind, the focus, the understanding, the foundation, all right, of God. Of God. So it's basically telling you to focus your thoughts around the energetic focus of all creation, you, the essence of yourself. Now, when I say yourself, I'm talking about your divine self. I'm not talking about who you see in the mirror. I'm talking about who you are when no one is near. I'm talking about how you make people feel. You understand? That's how people are going to remember you. That's you. That's your vibration. That's your frequency. You understand? But yeah, let me check these notes real quick because I did not actually look at these. Oh yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, we just brushed through the we didn't brush through, we took like 30 minutes? 30 minutes on the spiritual mind. And the spiritual mind attends to the heart. And when you start to attend to the heart, you might not like what's there, to be honest with y'all. Because a lot of times we throw like dirty clothes over the heart in a way, in a sense. It's like, oh, I got hurt in this shirt, so I'm gonna toss it over here, and I'm not hanging out with these people no more because they hurt me, and the shirt gonna be there, and then it just sits there forever. And basically, if you consider your heart to be a door, people got shit stocked by the door. They got dressers by the door. You can't even get in. You know they got chairs by the door and everything because they're hurt on the inside. But in order to actually find that light energy, to find that Christ energy pouring through you as it's pouring through me now, you would actually need to open that door. You would actually need to rectify those feelings. And this is where the energy of forgiveness comes in. And this is the reason why it's so important, especially in the Christian foundation and religions, because, well, I would call it foundation. I'm not going to bring that word into this because y'all know when I be going there. So, but that's where forgiveness comes in, because in order for you to actually clear that space, it's up to you to release those attachments, and those attachments are those thoughts and those emotional acceptance of that situation. A lot of times, certain things are not easy, and some things are easy in context of forgiveness. You just got to learn how to make it easy for you. Like, I don't need to talk to somebody to forgive them. I don't need to have what's it called? What's that word? Closure all the time. Not every time. Not every time. Because sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes your brain wants that because your brain feel like, I can't just stop now. But that's the best piece of power that you can find. It's your clarity. All right. So forgiveness is what you will utilize to balance the heart. Because first, forgiving yourself for all that you did and all that you didn't do. A lot of times we beat ourselves up because we think we're supposed to be somewhere. No. You're good exactly where you are right now, if you recognize where you are right now. And that's what I had to learn, because a lot of times we like to forecast ourselves and see the best, of course, because we want the best, of course. But then if you're not looking at yourself with the eyes of love, you will be judging yourself along the way. You have to stop that somehow. I learned how to stop that just by seeing how I see myself. That's a process of meditation. I like to use that because that's the breath. Like, it's the breath. What's good, AJ? You know what I'm saying? That's the breath. So, yeah, family. I would also like to say the reason why I'm on live right now is because I heard this in my heart, y'all. Like, straight up, I'll be honest with y'all. Because I started noticing that all my work in the last year, 2 years, has been more so about governing the mind and understanding how the mind is utilized, and then also how the objective forces like the news understand our minds and use our mind against us by us not knowing the habitual factor of our neurological processing. And now this doesn't really hurt or affect a lot of folks like the youth, but for the older folks, this basically the reason why they're not changing, and it's neurological. And to know that for yourself, it allows you to become exactly what you desire by allowing yourself to recognize that it's all about thought and allowing for yourself to feel what you're actually creating mentally. But I would like to remind y'all that I heard this in my heart and I almost said no. I almost said no because I had other things to do today, but then I started recognizing, like, I was like, how do I prioritize this? Because, you know, sometimes when I get messages, I'll go ahead and just drop the video right then and there. But it's like, oh, I got to go live about this. I'm like, this is not something that somebody's going to replay and listen to. So I got to go live about this. So now I'm not really like going live today. But that was just me feeling like me about me. Why the fuck? That's wild. But that's exactly what it feels like. So overcoming yourself is the quality of having a spiritualized mind, because I know that I like to like create certain types of comfort and things like this. But I had to just start learning how to say yes. And even thinking about that is sometimes scary in a certain form, because we forecast so much. We spend too much time up here and it's not our business. Like, I had to tell my mother something and I didn't feel like telling her because I knew how she was going to feel about it. But then I ended up telling her anyway, and she didn't feel the way I thought she was going to feel about it. But I had already created. Like, oh my goodness, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's none of my business. And that's why I have to invite y'all to realize that, like, what your heart is guiding you towards is 10 times out of 10. And now, if you do the heart work first, now you can know who you're listening for. And now how you're listening inside, you know what I'm saying? Not listening to your body's feelings in context to, oh, that's my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a little different. So, but yeah, like, even telling her the information I had to release to her, I felt great saying it at the same time. I just was concerned more about how she's going to feel. And I'm learning that's not my business, because I've been that person my whole life. So I've been trying to, like, not even trying. I've been changing that. And it's been changing because I'm very much so able to let people know what they need to know. And I tell myself that I send my words forward to bless, heal, nourish, and inspire. So I got to inspire them with the shit I'm telling them, or make them some positive direction with it. So I just throw it in a way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I say it, but I say it in a way that they can use it and it's not going to demean them. And I feel like my whole life, I've never had that level of care being spoken to. Like, people would not know how dangerous their words are, you know? And I had to learn that for them in a way. It's weird. But yeah, family, when we start to harmonize these two, now we start to see, like, this is what I'm feeling. Like, I'm able to actually get on here. Now, this is the funny thing too. Like, I get on here all the time, and then I forget that I'm on here all the time until I scroll on my shit. And it's like, you know, it's another video. But it feels like the same, then it's so different every time. So that's how I know I like doing this, because I don't know what to expect. But yeah, let's continue. So we have to understand the mind likes to say no. The mind likes to say no in the form of creating boundaries. And this is helpful, because if you're around some people that need to get the no, I hope you give it to them, because you preserve yourself. You understand? The salvation is now. You're not hopeful for nobody. All right. If you're not saving you, forget about it. All right. So you got to start attending to yourself and start activating the heart, and also opening yourself up to the soul, and claiming yourself. And we'll talk about that too, because I've also noticed that there's a lot of untouched triggers in the realm of Christ, in the realm of Jesus Christ, and also Christianity, because people haven't had the opportunity to speak on their experiences. So that's not where we need people at. We need people that have actually cleared the house. So we're gonna have to open up that too, because I need to clear the house. Thank you. But when we start understanding the mind wants to create these boundaries, they're helpful. But at the same time, it's like, I started at the heart, then I moved into the mind, then I organized all of my shit, then now I'm moving back to the heart. But then it's like, damn, I'm moving back to the heart. Now I recognize that a lot of what I created was a little bit too much. But that's what I got to deal with. You dig what I'm saying? So after dealing with the emotions and starting to utilize the mind to pay attention to what's coming through the heart, it's much easier to know exactly what to do. Now you might just need to give yourself permission. To be honest, I need to give myself permission, because I realize that nobody's going to say this. You know what I'm saying? I realize that. I mean, there's people saying it somewhere, but that's not my business. My business is check and make sure I said it. That's where I'm at right now with myself. That's where I'm at. So I wanted to bring this in because we're going through this time frame of transformation, and the world is going to give us more of what we know they've told us is coming. So I don't see it getting any better. But in order to stand and outgrow that is to ascend. And the ascension is not about leaving somewhere. It's about adjusting your frame of understanding and your frame of perception. And this is the reason why we're spiritualizing the mind. Because without that, basically the resistance that's going to come from people and their emotions is going to be too much for them. So they have to build their spirit. This is the reason for church. This is the reason for mosque. This is the reason for all of these things. But outside of the ego or whoever is controlling these things, it's getting done or it's not getting done. So I'm make sure it's getting done on my type of time and every type of stream I'm streaming, because my life is streamed like this, and this is how I live regularly. This is what I do all the time. I want to be able to tell my children why. I don't want to just give them some shit and not know. That shit feels stupid to me, and I'm not about that. So in order for me to know, I have to learn, and in order for me to understand what I know, I have to teach. So that's my type of time. Like that's my type of time. Like real talk. Like that's my shit. Like yeah, that's my shit. So let's talk about the mind a little bit. Because the mind is super helpful, but when you start to meditate, you realize how much more helpful the mind can be. Until you meditate, the mind might be somebody you wrestle with, but when you meditate, you can they're basically like your butler or something like this, in a way. So the mind, the logical aspect, like we spoke, is the left hemisphere of the brain, more so. All right, it's very much so the analytical aspect. Wants to definitely check the details. All right, wants to do all the research. You dig what I'm saying? And I know all about that, because yeah, we can go into history. We can go everywhere y'all want. I don't have no filters about what I'm open to talk about, really. But yeah, we want to understand that aspect, because whatever we focus on from that aspect of our mind, we have to understand that is our offering to the essence of God. So if you focus your mind right now, and I would just say, where were you on your last birthday? Where were you on your last birthday? Where were you on your last birthday? Now, if you still listening, your mind work, because I know it do, you would know exactly where you was at on your last birthday. And you was actually there a couple seconds ago until I started talking again. You probably even pictured where you went. Oh, yeah, we was on and then we went on the flight. Yep. And then we went to boom. You know what I'm saying? Because you go where your mind goes. That's how it works. So when I was talking earlier about how the news decides on how to show things, they want to send your mind to Texas about what the fuck is going on in Texas right now. But your mind needs to be with the presence of God right now. That's what it is. So that's a distraction. Thank you. What else is one? Because there's lots of them. So, and now if you're having a conversation with someone who's all up here, you finna get up there once you start talking to them. I'm trying to get people in their hearts. Like, I'm trying to get people chilling and knowing that salvation is now, and that we are eternal beings. And whatever the world got going on, we're going to see each other in 1,000 years looking in the same eyes with different skin and things. We eternal. I don't know how to hide it. I don't know how to hide it. How am I supposed to hide that I'm eternal? How? Like, oh, because I'm going to die one day? How? I want to understand. I want to understand. Like, it's funny because I feel like people maybe want to make you feel like you're not one with God. Like, how are you, like, here? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you here? How are you here? Soul, right? The word soul, S-O-U-L, if you observe the phonetics, O and U basically make the same sound. So it's soul in Spanish, S-O-L in Spanish, soul, right? Y'all do Spanish? Okay, well, if y'all don't do Spanish, soul, S-O-L in Spanish equals sun in English. So we understand the soul, and then we also understand the son, all right? And then Christ being the son of God, right? Christ is the soul of God. Now, you might go over there and see Christ and see a picture of somebody up in there, but that picture is not a picture for you to remember. That's a picture for you to exemplify yourself in, because the soul of God is who you are. Now, they have a different picture up there so you wouldn't see yourself. That's the way they try to use the mind to tell a different story. So, where's the energy? The energy is within you. This is the reason why the kingdom of heaven is within. Soul, sun, light, Christ. This shit couldn't even make. Like, how am I supposed to not be sharing wisdom and insight? How am I not supposed to be sharing wisdom? I don't know how to not do that. I don't know how. You understand? So just think about it. The world teaches limitation in thoughts, in the way in which everything goes. It's just a form of limitation. You go outside, you see these trees, right? You know what these trees saying right now? Now, I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm funny, but I can get it really, you know what I'm saying? I can get it really interesting, because y'all know what the tree's talking about? Well, on any day, the tree is saying, please keep growing, bro. Keep growing. Grow as tall as you possibly can. That's what the trees say, because that's what the trees do. They are embodying their gospel. They do this. And that's what I'm doing. I'm embodying the self-awareness. This is what I'm doing. I just want to show y'all these like little similarities right here, because I'm about to go there. If you were to ask an artist what the wind was doing with the tree, they would say the wind was blowing on the tree, because that's personification. The wind is not trying to blow anywhere. The wind is doing wind. You know what I'm saying? But they put words to it in a form of which you can understand. But the wind is doing wind. Right? So watch this. If I were to personify what the trees are saying right now, they would sound like the queens who just came out the closet for 2 weeks. Like let's say the sister been in the closet for 2 weeks. She coming out right now. She about to get her hair done and everything like this. She about to be like, girl, when I get there, you know what I'm saying? She gonna be, hyping herself up. That's how the tree's talking right now. They're like, oh my goodness, by the time April, girl, my flower's finna be popping, girl. Oh my God, you haven't even seen a motherfucking flower yet, girl. And wait till May. You know what I'm saying? That's what the tree's talking about. They having a blast. They enjoying life. They talking about how fly they are and things like that. Now, I don't have these conversations with them, but if you understand the personification energy, you can easily see that. That's obvious. Girls be getting ready now. You know what I'm saying? It's what clock is it? They said it's a clock. What clock? It's about 4 o'clock. The girl's getting ready right now. So the personification is an observation. It's a movement of energy and noticing what's happening. That's why they say the tree was blowing in the wind. The tree is standing still, my man, but the wind is causing the tree to move. So they just want to say that. And it's like a blanket. It's like I told you, at least, basically. But I like to go deep because I just want to go. I just want to go. I don't want to stay. Shit. But yeah, family. And that's just an observation. Let me give you another one to show y'all this symbiotic balance that we have with nature. We are one with this whole. We are one with this whole planet. This whole universe. This whole universe. Everything is serving you. Like the trees are giving us oxygen, and we are giving them carbon dioxide. Y'all ever known that? Like some people don't know that. I don't understand, but this called balance. So how can you see these things and not understand that there's a play that is spiritual? There's a spiritualized mind. You see what it is for what it is, and you honor that. Like that's the reason why we meditate and focus on our breath. The breath is sacred. Like, you know how fast you can get rid of anxiety in a moment by just listening to your breath? It's all 1 minute. It's not a call to a therapist. Now, you might need to call a therapist after because you got to talk to your mother. You're avoiding it. But, you know what I'm saying? The breath is so instant because it takes the mind to the movement, and that allows the thoughts to then, like, I can illustrate this shit so beautifully. Because when you bring your attention, your focus, your thoughts, like y'all focus on what I'm saying right now, right? But if we were to all bring our focus, attention right now to our breath, you would probably remember something I said earlier. You might even think about something that you read earlier. You might think about how what I'm saying right now corresponds with a conversation you had. All of these things could just reveal themselves to you right now because you're in the space. So what I'm learning is this. God wants me to be here more. And that's the reason why I'm being like given these opportunities to notice when I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I like having fun, because this shit feels like fun to me, especially when someone's helped me learn that. So that's what I've been learning. Like there's a lot of opportunities for me to stay up here. Sometimes I'll say no to helping particular people because I stay up here. And then I'm able to now realize that and realize how I program myself and then come here and then actually change and make a new decision and actually feel fucking amazing about that. Keep going about my business. Why? Because I'm just changing my program step by step. I know old program I used to say is I used to refer to the essence of God in a feminine form as females, but that's women. But I didn't recognize that my brain has been programmed to generalize the essence of women with the term that denotes feminine polarity. I just didn't notice that. It's over until someone told me that I was able to notice that. So this is the reason I'm telling you guys these things, so that you have opportunity to notice these things. And also, praise God, just give y'all the opportunity to choose. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you do not understand how your mind is moving right now, it's just up until you decide to now understand. Now, I'll tell y'all the truth. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I like to go direct. I meditate. You get to know right now. There's a lot of other things to assist in understanding how you really feel, what's really going on within you. We can talk about that in another live stream as we share in this life right now. But it's very important, especially with what's coming up next in the world. It's just not going to get prettier in the form of what we see. But if we strengthen our spirit, it don't matter what we see. And that's what we're getting to. That's where we're going. And now, it doesn't mean that we're going to see some shit and not do nothing about it. We're going to have to strengthen some shit too. But I'm just saying that from a form of mental stability, because it's only from peace that power is. You cannot be destabilized and try to make some big moves, you know what I'm saying? Like mentally destabilized and hope that you're going to actually do some things in a positive way and have positive impacts. It's only from clarity that those type of outcomes are created and sustained. You dig what I'm saying? So that clarity comes in from understanding how the mind is organized, how society utilizes certain images to basically program the mind and create certain ways of perception. For example, I've always respected women because I always loved my mother. And I've never conceptualized treating another person's mother different from my mother. And then I have a younger sister, and that made me understand that I'm not trying to treat somebody else how I wouldn't think my sister should be treated when I'm not there. So my understanding of women in that regard is a lot of my my conditioning, and also how I've chosen to live, because other people have the same situations as me, but they run around dogging people. That's not my type of time, because when I replay these memories, when I meditate, I need to have peace of mind, and I cannot have peace of mind arguing with myself. So I just do things I would like, and that's basically what it is. This is exactly what it's saying in the Bible too. Do unto others the way you like to be, or treat others the way you like to be treated. Do unto others as you like things done unto you. It's also in Islam. They got the same thing in there. It's also in the Taoist book. It's also in where's the other one? Judaism. All of them say the same thing in different ways to get to the same point of picture. The picture is treat other people the way you want to be treated. Now, I don't know who's on the planet Earth, but if they know that, then they must have known some shit, because you get back what you give out. You dig what I'm saying? And that's how the world works. So if you're out there not really giving to yourself, you can't expect nothing from someone. If you're not really loving and admiring yourself, you'd be very hopeful. You know what I'm saying? Let somebody be the second one to acknowledge you. Let somebody be the second one to let you know that you fly today. Don't try to go out there looking for the first person. Be the first person. That's called lighting your own fire. You understand what I'm saying? And it happens with a spiritualized heart and mind. I noticed because when you start acknowledging how you feel, you'll notice when you don't acknowledge yourself. You'll notice when you don't acknowledge the work that you're doing. You'll notice. It just, I don't know how to really, I'm still learning how to illustrate this. I'm gonna put it that way because that's the way it needs to be put. Because this is what my work is entitled, and this is what my work is crystallizing into, and I'm starting to see the form a little bit. It's about spiritualizing the mind and understanding the way the mind works, and also how to make the mind work for you rather than you trying to catch up to it. And that's by getting ahead of it, and that's with meditation. So everybody has programs. Everybody has been programmed in a form, and people are being programmed today. It's just about if you are choosing or if you're subjecting yourself to something by default. So, for example, I used to have people calling my phone who basically, how do I word this? I basically used to have people calling my phone who would feel okay to share certain things with me because I was there to emotionally support them, right? And then I started to notice that these people were just choosing not to emotionally support themselves because I kept answering the phone. And then I noticed that I wasn't helping these folks, and I was distracting myself because I already didn't want to pick up the phone. But I picked the phone up anyway. And then I was like, damn, like 10 minutes in the conversation, I was like, this shit is not ending soon. So I'm like, nah, that's not happening. I'm actually honor what I feel. I'm gonna honor what I feel. That's a big word, honor. It's a huge word. What's up, Ray? That's a big word, honor. You know, when you start to acknowledge what you feel, this is because the spiritualized mind attends to the heart. You want to focus on that. You want to actually attend to that. So when I have an insight or impulse or a reason to express and share or whatever, I'm just standing at the door more and saying yes. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a big yes to get on this live, and be honest with y'all. And I'm actually parched right now. And I'm about to see. Hold up. Y'all, bro, I almost forgot that this is live. But we got some magic in this jar. I'm about to touch with it because I need some. But yeah, family, I appreciate everybody who's tapped in. I feel like there's been a really amazing set of individuals in here tonight. Or this, what time is it? Whatever type of time this is. So we're here on live on YouTube, on Instagram. And I want to say I appreciate everybody who tuned in. That's orange juice, pineapples, blackberries, apples. Man, that thing hitting. All right, so yeah, family, I wanted to share that with y'all, and I'm going to be breaking this down into more videos. So definitely follow us here on Light Power if you're new to the platform. We're also going to be going live on the 4 levels of being. That's going to be later this week. The 4 levels of being are first, the spiritual, second, the mental, third, the emotional, and fourth, the physical. And we're going to be talking about how these 4 levels of our being are integrated and how we can support ourselves by supporting these 4 individual observations. Now, this is not like, I like to call these tools of observation because that's what they are. They're just tools of ways of looking at yourself, to check yourself, and ways to get clear on where you are with you. And like we spoke a lot about this earlier, the mental and the mind go hand in hand. The emotional and the heart go hand in hand. The physical is honoring, is respect, is honoring your body, your vessel, and knowing that this, I like to call it a car. You can call it, birthday suit. I like to call it birthday suit. I was in here since I got here. And, you know what I'm saying? Our job is to cherish this thing at the same time, even though we're also, having higher awareness of compassion, care, love, joy, and more focusing ourselves on higher principles. Where I feel personally that we are still here to enjoy what it means to be a human being, enjoy what it means to have a body. And that's why you're going to see me dancing in a couple minutes, because that's the type of time I feel like, and that's how the smoothie has me feeling like. So if y'all see some reels in a minute, just understand. But I really feel like having awareness of these four, knowing how to strengthen and balance these four, and I'm sure you can think of some right now. Y'all intelligent beings. I'm not the only one. Shit, I say that first because I like to make sure it's over there before I get over there. You did what I'm saying? Thank you. Super excited. But yeah, these four levels, right? They're just different ways to catch up with you. So the mental, like we spoke, understand the way you think, installing new forms of behavior that are more conducive to where you see yourself. That's a whole live stream right there by itself. So with that being said, family, this is Light Power. Just insights I wanted to share today. And yeah, that's all on this paper at least. I definitely can go into this more, but this is honestly very impulsive. I did not plan. I could next time bring a little bit more, let's call it context, let's say with Bible scriptures and things like this to speak more to it, because everything is convincing us to honor spirit in a form, nature, what's going on in the world, all the religious texts, and this is where we're going next. So I like to rise up, and I hope you get up there with me. So with that being said, family, super excited. I'm gonna talk to y'all on the next live. You did. This is Light Power, and I'm gonna talk to y'all. Peace. Swag it like that. Like I'm a swag it like that. Yeah, whole bunch of family on here. Oh man, the whole family popped up. Is that my dad? What's good? Oh man, everybody came through. Okay, so I gotta have this closer next time. So we gonna swag it like that. All right, I'm telling y'all. Man, I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. That joint was banging, wasn't it? That joint was banging, though. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get at. You know what I'm saying? Now. Pop, 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 pop. So next time I'm gonna come back live. My dad came through, man. I can talk to the world, nigga. I'm gonna come back and talk to the world. I'm gonna come back and talk to the world, nigga. This shit was fun. I'm gonna come back and talk to the world. Talk to the world. Talk to the world. This shit was so fun. Hey, I be forgetting how fun this shit is all the time. I gotta start remembering. So that being said, family, man, this is where the real one was at. A whole hour. I bet that. So this is what we're gonna do. How do you pause the live stream on YouTube though? I'm learning all of this. Hold up. Bro, where's the end stream or cancel or something like that? Was this it right? No longer be live. Boom.